Friday, September 15th, 2023. Dream vlog. This is my second dream. This is crazy. I remember my mom moving with my mom into an apartment, and we moved into an apartment over in Monmouth or something. And then, and then, then, uh, then, it was a little apartment, but I felt like she was tricking me for something, and it was weird. I don't even feel like it was my mom. I felt like it was like a demon or something else, or my mom's evil twin, or I don't know what it was, but it felt like my mom just had pure evil in her heart when I was looking at her, and just pure evil and deceit. And then I walk up the street, or I go to this other house, and I walk into the house, right? And it was in Independence. It was like in one of the back roads in Independence. I don't know where. I don't even know if it's a real house. But it was like one of the back roads in Independence. And then I think it was like a peach house. I walk in. Oh, there's this house by YMCA, the old YMCA, over by the old Head Start. I don't know if it's still Head Start where I used to go. And there's this house reminds me of it. It's a peach house, or it used to be peach, or I thought, but I remember being over there. It's a long house. It kind of reminds me of that energy. I don't know who lives there or what, but it's like by the YMCA, where the old pool was, the pool with the YMCA. I used to go there when I was little. There's a house over there, and it reminds me of that energy. It's up the street from there. But anyways, this house, it was in my dream. It was peach, and I walk in, and I see, what was it? It was some random people there, but it was like my family's house. It was supposed to be my family's house. I see some random people there, right? And it looked like two old school natives. They remind me of D, my Theo Poncho's ex-wife or whatever. D, I don't know if she's a Camaro or what, but in my dream I was like, are you guys related to D and Joe Camaro? And then and I was like, yeah, and they were like, no, but they look like D, and they were like elder natives or something, and they look like trolls. They had bumps all over their face, and and they had bumps all over their face, like, you know, the old school natives. Some of them have like rough skin and like craters in their face. It was two old elder native women with straight hair, and one was sitting on the couch on one side of me to the left, and the other one was on a different couch on the right. And I was asking them questions about if they were related to D, because it reminded me it looked like D. And then and then they didn't say no. And then there was someone else there too, and I felt just this negative energy. They were just either doing like witchcraft on me, or they were doing plots and plans to set me up or something like that. And then and yeah and then I was just sitting there talking to him, trying to find out things or information. And then I was telling them how I was abstinent, I was pacifist, and all this, that, and the other. And that they were like, wow, like they didn't know. And then and then and then I leave out the front door, right? I go outside. There's some bicycles outside. There was little kid bicycles There was two of them. And then and then and then I go back inside and I see my cousin Bianca. Uh, I see my cousin Bianca with puffy curly hair, and she's looking at me. And then I see my Aunt Irma in there too. She's laying on a bed reading a book. And then they somehow I had this fucking tricked out gun. I had this gun with a scope on top and just all tricked out, like all tricked out. And someone was trying to plant it on me and gave it to me or something. I can't remember how I got it, but they were basically trying to set me up for this gun. And then they were trying to frame me for this gun, and it had like a scope on it, and it was tight, bro. It was like from a movie. And then they were trying to frame me for a gun, for having a gun. And then you know what's crazy? My mom gave me a gun lock yesterday. But anyways, in real life. But anyways, they were trying to frame me for having a gun. And then and then uh and then they were trying to frame me for having a gun, and it was like Irma beyond my family, right? It was weird. And then you know, it was weird. Irma was like laying on the bed, but she was in there reading a book, but her shirt was falling down, like it was weird. And I told her to cover up, um to cover up. And then I'm walking in and I'm looking around the house. There's like a room on the left, a long hallway, and there was another room on the left and on the right. The hallway was like connected to the living room where there was the two couches. And I was in there and I was like, what the heck? And then I was looking for my Tia Melinda. Tia Melinda was there too. My Tia Melinda was there. And then it was weird. I left back outside again, and I looked around, and then I went back in, and my Tia Melinda was there. And then they were all right there, and they were all plotting on me. And I was like, what the heck is going on? It was like my whole family was plotting, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And then all of a sudden there was a whole bunch of tweakers just like swarming around the house and walking by, looking in the window, and they kept looking in my windows, and and uh and they kept looking in my windows, and and they were watching me like all around my house, on every angle of my house, every window they could look in. They were looking in my windows, trying to frame me and bear false witness, and also attack me. And they were just swarming around my house on every angle they could. And they were looking in my windows, trying to set me up and frame me, and stuff like that. And then the tweakers were I just felt anxiety in the house, right? And I was like, and then I wrap it in a white towel. I wrap it in a white towel, and I'm walking around, right? Walking around, and I go outside and I get on on the bicycle, right? I didn't wrap it in a white towel yet. I put it in my pants, and then in my pant line, my belt line, and then I grabbed one of the little bicycles. It was a little kid's bicycle, and I started riding the bike away. I ride the bike away, and my Aunt Irma gets on a bike too and is like following me, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then excuse my language, but and then uh you know what's crazy? I already had like multiple dreams where they're trying to frame me for a gun and plant a gun in my house and all that. It's already been happened. So if they're trying to frame me for a gun now, then obviously I already dreamt of the future. But um I was riding a bike. It was a little kid's bike, and I'm riding it down the street, and I ride it down the street with Irma. Irma's following me and stuff, and I'm on another bike, and I'm like, what the freak is going on? And then and then and then uh what was it? Um, um, then I don't know. It felt like every house on the whole block that we're riding the bike was just staring at me, and it was like everybody in the town or in the whole block was staring at me while I was riding bikes, and I was like, where do I go? And then I look on my phone. I look on my phone, and I look at my phone, and it was like I was seeing like these subliminals from every neighbor on like social media, subliminals, and it was weird. And we were dropping subliminal posts and subliminal pictures and stuff like that, and yeah, so they were dropping subliminals, and or like little posts to like try to trigger me or warn me or whatever the case may be, but I was dreaming that the neighbors were like dropping subliminals on posts on social media, and then and then for some reason I ended up at the Riverfront Park, and it was 4th of July, and there was a gas station where the public library is in Independence. There was a gas station right there, and then they weren't letting me in the park, and I look up at the stars and I see them going, and people were stalking me at the park. Then then I go back to the house, and I that's when I walk in to that same house, and I see my mom there too. My mom sitting on the couch, and she was like tricking me again. And then my Aunt Irma and my Melinda were all there. All of them. My two aunts and my mom were there. And I walk in, and they were trying to frame me for the gun. And it was my mom, my Aunt Melinda, and my Aunt Irma. They were all trying to frame me for a gun. And then so I grabbed that gun, and I wrap it in a white towel. Um, Obviously the white towel means purity. And then and then um there was just people walking by, even normal people in like a jogger outfit walking by the window, looking in the window, hiding their face. And then I catch a blonde woman walking by in the back, a blonde woman um a blonde woman walking by, looking in the window, stalking me, trying to set me up. I catch her on a picture in my dream, and then she like turned her head, and I caught it right on time, looking in the window and like being sneaky. And then all of a sudden, a big old bus comes in the back, and it parks right by the one of the windows. And then they were just like surrounding my house, and I was like, what the heck am I doing? Then I walk outside, and there was a cop car right there parked on the next house over that I couldn't see. And go to the cops. I go to the cops because I was gonna give them the gun. I said I found this gun, right? And then and I look inside the cop car, and there was a whole bunch of tweakers in the driver, the passenger, and the back seat, and it was an old busted down cop car. You know what I mean? Um, it could symbolize that they're gonna get arrested in their big group or whatever, and they didn't get out the car; they just stayed in the car. But anyways, I walk back into the house, and I'm like looking how, and then I see my cousin Sasha. My cousin Sasha pops up in a car in the backyard next to the next to the bus. That the bus was full, like I think with cops, or like when they raid a house. It kind of looked like a raiding, like they were gonna raid something, right? And then they were gonna raid the house. It looked like, and then I walked to the back of the house. I have the gun in a white towel, right? And Sasha's like, "Give me the gun, give me the gun." So I toss it to her, and then she goes to the cops in the bus, and she hands it to them, and they start laughing, and they were trying to set me up, and Sasha was basically trying to set me up, and then and then she hands it to the cops on the bus or whatever, and I see the guy in the hat. He was wearing a hat in the driver's seat, and he just like smirking or smiling at me, like the cops were involved or something. But yeah, that was basically my dream. I'm about to go back to sleep though, because I love dreaming. I almost forgot. Friday, September 15th, 2023. This is part of the dream where I have my aunts and Sasha and the tweakers and the one I'm posting right now on YouTube. So I just forgot this part. So I had dreamt that I was down at the riverfront park and they were having like the fireworks and stuff. And there was a tent right there, right? And I was sitting at the tent and I was just looking at people, females, whatever, walking. And I'm sitting down and or I'm walking through this people's tent. They're sitting down, laying down. And I was like, dang, well, can I walk through? And they're like, yeah. And then that girl gets up. I go sit down and that girl gets up and like just rushes me with like lust, and I'm like, what the fuck, like, you know what I mean? And then she drops to her knees and I'm like, what the heck? I was like, how old are you, who are you, and da 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 da. And then someone was sending her towards me to set me up, and she was underage. She was like 17 in my dream. And there was a person in the other tent, like to the right, far away, watching after they sent her to me to set me up. And then I asked her age and I pushed her off. And then it was just that part of the dream. It was at the riverfront park right on there, and there was like a little canopy tent thing and a whole bunch of them. And it was trippy. It was trippy. But that's when I went back to the house, and then I seen my cousin Bianca and Irma and Melinda. This is a part of the dream, of that dream.